What's up, team? Sean from Vesta live here, and I'm a little bit under the weather, so excuse me for any coughing or sort of this red look I've got about me today. Um, this news that Elon came out with that X is going to be working on a new OpenAI competitor. Um, X is also now sort of the holding company for Twitter. We had made a video a while back, myself, Chris Patel, and Amit, uh, about this idea of how to think about Twitter as a streaming live contextual data source, the value this could bring to solving for some of these problems. I had some thoughts about this a moment ago, and frankly, I couldn't wait till I felt better to get it out because it was scratching at my brain so hard. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is not going to be a fluff video, this is straight to the facts. We're not going to waste any time. The biggest challenge with this whole idea of true artificial intelligence is this idea of artificial general intelligence. Okay, so I'll call it AGI for the rest of the video. And essentially, this is the idea that a true, workable, thinkable, almost living AI could be created, can think and feel and abstract and respond for itself without prompts. Okay. Now, the problem with this is typically we can do the math work, we can do the correlations, we can do the deep learning, the machine learning, we can do large language modeling, right? Things like ChatGPT, etc. There's a human component that's missing, and I think the best word to sum it up is a philosophy. Okay, and the problem with philosophy is that philosophy, in theory, is very much an art and a science, right? We can be scientific about it in certain periods or timelines, but it becomes very artful in our approach to understanding philosophy within machine learning and how those ideals change. And I feel like I sort of mentally cracked it a bit. And because I think things should be shared with everyone rather than go and write it down or build into the things I'm working on, I wanted to share it with everyone here. But just for a second, when we think about philosophy, it's really about the idea of human nature, the way we think and act and respond to things, how we derive our sort of humanistic values, right? So philosophy is the way we think about the world around us in its simplest possible terms. Now, back in 2015, 2016, I forget the year exactly, I wrote my first sentiment analysis tool. I was using IBM's Bluemix and Garage services to do so. And I've been playing around with sentiment for years, just a sort of a personal project I got really interested in doing. So a lot of work in understanding text and how we take that text and contextualize it to determine positive, negative, neutrality, right? Things like that. And in a previous video that I had done a while back, I really talked about the idea of Twitter acting as a real-time streaming brain. And the problem at the time was like Twitter was very raw still. It's still very raw today, but tools like what OpenAI is building were not really largely available or as advanced as they are right now today, just from 1 year ago when I made that video. And it got me thinking about the problem with real-time streaming thought based on real-time streaming issues and how much of philosophy is changing really quickly. And I started thinking about how I could apply a mathematical formula to real-time streaming thought and philosophy. And team, if you know this channel and you know me, I talk a lot about investing in stocks as well as AI and technology and entrepreneurship. And I was thinking to myself, what if I could apply an exponential moving average to real-time streaming thought that could be scored in some way so that we both can pay attention to and team, again, apologies, I'm a little under the weather, but what if we could look at live streaming reactions based on real events that are happening to quickly ascertain not only sentiment, but derive sentiment and value with a real time weighting? So we both want to include all data that we're tracking so we can create and understand those trends with heaviest weighting on the front end. Okay. So the converse to this would be like a simple moving average, which equates weighting evenly to everything. Because what I'm finding is even words, meanings, feelings are changing. The nomenclature is changing so fast that a machine learning model really has to have the ability to quickly weight and scale as part of that philosophical approach to understanding the way we think and feel about things. Now, yes, there are a million reasons why this would be a terrible idea in the real world, and I'm not looking to solve it in the next 3 minutes of this video. But what I was thinking is you could sort of quickly ascertain from a philosophical perspective the way a group is leaning or thinking. And by having the ability to do that, combined with an LLM plus an AI or machine learning base, that ability to quickly look at and understand and learn from the way things think, the way we move, the way we comment on certain topics, or the negative the negative comments or positive comments or what the general consensus is, a machine could very quickly and easily learn, look, from a philosophical perspective, people think that this is generally right, this is generally wrong. There's going to be outliers and fringes. We can sort of shave those fringes off, work our way into the bell curve, get some sort of consensus. Because we have all the data to work with and the ability to sort of do deep learning on all of that, the connections within the connections, this opens up avenues to start thinking about, well, why do the masses think X? What's been the driving factor? Is it based on historical views with religion or ethics or right and wrong or family values or lack thereof or whatever it might be? And more I started thinking that the power of what could be built here is really having an active, learnable human voice with a properly exponentially weighted approach to it, tying back trends to derive current value and start to predict what the philosophy is looking like, what it's turning towards. Now, there's a ton of work that has to be done here, and I don't see any way to do this other than having that live stream thought process. And I really do think of Twitter as a brain. And I think I'm not behind the scenes in any way here. I'm not involved in any way, of course. What I think though is if you actually looked at the vast majority of underrepresented tweets, right? Normal people saying normal things. I don't care what your opinion of normal is, you can take it however you want. The average, the middle of the bell curve, right? That's sort of mid 40%, 20 and 20 on each side, right? That strength sector. I would love to know how many people who just don't have a big following or don't get a lot of views, but represent the vast majority of the way everyone thinks, so that we can sort of use that exponential moving average to say, hey, look, here are the parameters we don't care about. Top 1%, bottom 1%, they get tons and tons and tons of views and comments. They don't provide true structure to the middle. So I'm going to be doing some real deep thought. I'm probably not going to sleep for 2 days now, if I'm being honest, after talking about this. But I think there's something here. I think the way we think about exponentially leveraging data in a moving average perspective to derive value and create scoring in the interim, combined with LLMs, AI, and deep learning, I think there's something really interesting here in a way that we could sort of quantify and build philosophy, or roughly, into an AGI or a baby AGI. So I just had to share this. There's no ending to this video. I'm going to end it right here. I want you to think about it. I really want your comments because I think we can solve this. Drop comments below. Let me know if you're in the data science LLM space, you're in the philosophy space, call it out. Let me know what you think. If you're in no technical spaces whatsoever, love it. Let me know what you think. I mean, look, using really basic tools, we can already figure out things like sentiment, direction, trends, reliability. We can look at and understand where things were, where they're going, and how they're likely to change. We can understand impacts we make to the outcome if we do or do not make those changes, right? So it becomes an exercise of just math, but it's that hive think, that sort of true understanding of philosophy in real time that really could be the driving factor that separates out some of the mathematical issues here. And of course, any good developer is going to want to make sure they have sort of that ethical switch they can turn on. But for the sake of conversation, this is just a starting point for me. So, team, I'm under the weather. I'm sorry for the coughing here, but I had to share it. Thanks so much for watching. Let's figure this thing out. I'll see everybody. Thanks so much.